These two houses are listed for the same price, $429,000. This one sold in 19 days. Over asking. Cash offer. This one has been on the market for 411 days. 3 price cuts. 0 offers. In May of 2026, there is no such thing as the American housing market anymore. There are 2. One of them is stable, equity-rich, almost impossible to crash. The other one is already collapsing, and 11.5% of the people who live there are about to lose everything they own. Over the next 15 minutes, you're going to discover 3 things almost no one in America understands right now. First, why 10 specific cities are experiencing a full-blown housing crash while the rest of the country barely notices. Second, the single statistic that proves it's already happening, a number so unusual that the people who track it for a living are terrified. And third, how to know right now which America you live in. Because by the end of this year, that one question will decide whether your family builds wealth or loses it. This isn't a prediction. This isn't a forecast. This is happening. Today. For 70 years, the American housing market worked the same way. Your parents bought a house. Maybe your grandparents bought one before them. The house got more valuable every year. They paid it off. They borrowed against it. They retired on it. They left it to their children. It was the engine of American wealth. 87% of all middle-class net worth in this country is tied to one thing: the house. And for 70 years, it just worked. Until 2008, when for the first time in modern history that engine broke. Millions of Americans watched the most important asset they'd ever owned lose half its value overnight. It took a decade to recover, and when it finally did, people promised it would never happen again. Lending standards were tightened. Banks were regulated. The system was fixed. And for years, that promise held. Until something started happening in early 2025. Something so quiet, so localized, so easy to ignore, that even economists missed it for almost a year. It didn't look like 2008. There were no bank runs, no headlines, no panic on Wall Street. It started with letters, just letters, sent to specific addresses, in specific zip codes, in specific cities. And by the time anyone connected the dots, it was already too late to stop. It started here, Cape Coral, Florida, a retirement town on the Gulf Coast, population 200,000. In 2022, the median home price hit $410,000, up 67% in just 3 years. Realtors called it the hottest market in America. By the end of 2025, that same median home price had dropped to $312,000. 23% in 18 months. That's not a correction. That's a crash. Then it was Austin, down 19% from its 2022 peak. Then Phoenix, down 16%. Then Boise, Las Vegas, Tampa, New Orleans, Memphis, Jacksonville, Sarasota. 10 cities, same pattern, same timeline, same outcome. And almost nobody noticed, because while these 10 cities were collapsing, something else was happening in the rest of the country. In Boston, home prices were up 6%. In Chicago's northwest suburbs, up 4%. In Buffalo, New York, of all places, up 9% in 12 months. This is the question that started haunting economists in early 2026. How can the same country, in the same economy, with the same interest rates, have 2 completely opposite housing markets? And then someone looked at the data, and they found a number that explained everything. 11.52%. That's the FHA mortgage delinquency rate as of the 4th quarter of 2025. For comparison, the delinquency rate on conventional mortgages, the kind banks give to wealthier buyers, is 1.78%. That means FHA borrowers are defaulting on their mortgages 6.5 times more often than everyone else. Now, here's what you need to understand about FHA loans. They're how working-class Americans buy houses. Lower down payment, lower credit score requirements. They were invented during the Great Depression so that regular families could own homes. In 2022 and 2023, when interest rates spiked and home prices peaked, FHA loans became the only way most first-time buyers could get into the market. They were told it was their shot, their last chance before they got priced out forever. So they took the loans, they stretched, they bought. And now, 3 years later, they can't make the payments. The FHA built up a record $189 billion in reserves to absorb the losses. But what they can't stop is what those losses do to the neighborhoods around them. Because here's the part nobody talks about. When one home on a street forecloses, the value of every other home on that street drops by an average of 1.3%. When 5 forecloses on the same block, it's a 16% drop. And in the 10 cities we just looked at, foreclosure filings have risen for 12 consecutive months. But here's the surprising truth. The cities where this is happening are not the cities you'd expect. They're not Detroit. They're not Baltimore. They're not the old Rust Belt towns that we think of when we hear the word foreclosure. They're the boom towns, the cities everyone moved to during the pandemic, the cities that were supposed to be the future. Austin, Phoenix, Tampa, the places people sold their California homes to buy into, the places influencers bragged about moving to, the places that got hot too fast and now have no soft place to land. His name is Marcus. He doesn't want me to use his last name. He's worried his employer will find out. He bought his house in Cape Coral in March of 2022. He was 38 years old, a father of 2. He worked maintenance at a hospital, made about $68,000 a year. He used an FHA loan to put down 3.5%. The mortgage payment with taxes and insurance was about $2,600 a month. Stretched but doable. Then in 2023, his homeowners insurance went up. Then again in 2024. Then again in 2025. His insurance premium tripled. His monthly housing cost jumped from $2,600 to over $3,800. He didn't get a raise. His kids didn't stop needing to eat. He started missing payments. Then he started skipping them. And here's the part that haunts him most. He can't even sell, because the house is worth less than what he owes on it. He's what realtors call underwater. Trapped in a home that's bleeding him dry. In a city that nobody wants to buy into anymore. Marcus is one of approximately 400,000 Americans currently facing the same situation. Concentrated in the same 10 cities. Holding the same type of loan. And the thing that makes this different from 2008 is that almost no one outside those cities will feel it. Their home values will keep rising. Their 401ks will keep growing. The stock market will keep telling them everything is fine. This is not the housing crash you were warned about. There will be no national headline, no bank run, no moment where everyone looks around at the same time and realizes what happened. It will happen quietly, one letter at a time, one block at a time, one city at a time, until one morning somewhere around the end of 2026, somebody will finally count the damage, and it will be larger than anyone expected, and by then, it will be far, far too late to stop it. So here's the question you need to ask yourself. Right now, today. Which America do you live in? If you bought your home before 2020 with a fixed rate under 4%, in a city outside those 10 zones, you are almost certainly safe. Your equity is intact. Your monthly cost is locked. The crash will not touch you. If you bought between 2021 and 2023 with an FHA loan in Florida, Texas, Arizona, or Nevada, you need to look at your numbers. Tonight, not next month, not after the holidays. Tonight. Look at your most recent insurance bill. Look at your property tax. Compare them to what you paid when you bought. If they've doubled, and in those states many have, your monthly cost is no longer what you thought it was. And look at the comparable sales in your neighborhood for the last 6 months. If they're down more than 10% from 2022 peaks, the equity you think you have may not exist. For everyone else, if you're renting, if you're saving, if you're waiting for the right moment, pay attention to those 10 cities, because in the next 12 months, somewhere in those zones, there will be the buying opportunity of a decade. Not for everyone, not at scale, not enough to fix what's broken, but for the people who are paying attention right now, while everyone else looks away. For 70 years, the American housing market worked the same way for everyone. That's over. There are now 2 Americas. One that's stable, one that's already broken. And the line between them runs right through your zip code. Are you sure? You live in the right one? You live. You're watching Estate Flow, where the housing market makes sense. Subscribe and stay ahead of the next move.